At the Dolphins, where the Dolphins hang on to defeat division rival Buffalo 21-17 in Hard Rock Stadium, snapping a two-game losing streak. Miami wins despite being outgained 415 yards to 175. A good game from Bills quarterback Josh Allen, who combines for 366 yards, 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. I don't think that we saw Josh Allen's escapability and ability to run. He was looking a little bit like Mike Vick out there. What'd you think, Gavin?
Yeah, this was a part of Josh Allen's game that was not focused on during the pre-draft process and during the off season. It was all about him being chuck the ball 1.5 million yards down the field. So you never really want your quarterback to be the leading rusher on your team, but when he's not a great thrower, maybe it's not such a bad idea. Even though they did lose this game, I think the Bills looked more competitive, this last Sunday than they had in most of the weeks, this season. So I think Allen played relatively well. Yeah, threw a couple picks, but I think given the talent around him on the offensive side of the ball, I don't think that should be focused on too much, and they should just look at the little progress they did see this last week and get excited about next year.
Yeah, and speaking to that talent on the field, the Bills have released wide receivers Kelvin Benjamin and Andre Holmes. What did Stoyo, what do you think? Were you surprised by Josh Allen's athleticism? And do you think that getting rid of Kelvin Benjamin as number one wide receiver is a good idea?
Well, first of all, I'm not that impressed with Josh Allen's escapability and just running over the place, because when you're QB and you can't throw the ball, then you have to run. So that's basically what he's doing. And this is going to last maybe a few more weeks, but it's not something you can keep up. As a QB, your job is to throw the ball from the pocket, and occasionally is to run the football. I don't want my running back to have over 100 rushing yards. He had $135.
Yeah.
If that's LaShawn McCoy, perfectly fine. You're having a great game, buddy. But I do not want my QB to have over 50 rushing yards. And to get rid of his number one weapon, in air quotes, the only thing I want to say is Mr. Benjamin looks like Cam Newton is not that bad of a QB after all.
Yeah. Speaking of that story, I want to get, this is a little off topic, but I want to get your reaction here. You just said you don't want your quarterback to be your team's leading rusher. You want him to stay healthy. Our quarterback has been our team's leading rusher and has missed 2 games now because of running the ball and getting hit late. Do you want Trubisky to pump the brakes on that rushing?
A little bit for sure, but I would say that Trubisky is a pass-first QB, and he uses his legs as a weapon as well, but I want him to spend more time in the pocket.
Yeah.
And that's what I want from my QBs. Yeah, they're fun to watch. Michael Vick was one of my favorite players ever, and his highlights are just amazing, but how many playoff victories did he get?
Yeah. And
that is not winning football. You want your QB to sit in the pocket and make the throws.
That's the thing, is that
Lamar Jackson says what's up.
But even Lamar Jackson, you see the people talking, and Mike Vick reached out to Lamar Jackson. It's hard for any run-first or run-happy quarterback to stay healthy.
Steve Young used to apologize to his coach when he used to go on the scramble and pick up a first down.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you need to learn how to be a QB in the pocket, and everything else is gravy. But I do think that our QB has a lot more potential than Josh Allen. I said that Josh Allen was going to be the worst QB out of his class, and it kind of looks this way so far.
Yeah, and we'll see if he can keep it up or stay healthy or get the Bills winning some football games. Dolphins corner Xavier Howard gets 2 interceptions in this game and now leads the NFL with 7. Big win for the Dolphins, fighting for a wild card spot. and the Dolphins will look to start a winning streak in Week 14 at home against the New England Patriots. Gavin, do you think the Dolphins have any shot of making a run at the playoffs sitting at 6-6?
No. I don't think so. You mentioned Xavier Howard. He actually is dealing with a knee injury right now.
Okay.
So he, we'll see how that progresses. And he's week to week right now.
All right.
I don't expect him to play this next week in New England.
Yeah, and they could certainly use that against Brady.
Yeah, but it's really unfortunate because they, as you mentioned, leads the league in interceptions right now.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, a great defensive back there. It's exciting to see some defense on their team outside of Cameron Wake.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll see what the Dolphins do going forward. Let's go to the Bears at the Giants, where the Giants upset the Bears in MetLife Stadium 30-27 in overtime on a Rosas game-winning field goal, snapping the Bears' 5-game winning streak. New York wins for just the 7th time in their last 28 games, but have won 3 of 4 since their bye week. Stoyo, what was your immediate takeaway from watching this game?
I was upset, very angry. We should have won this game, but it's one of those games where from the get-go it's not going our way, and yeah, I don't know what's going on with this defense. People are talking, is this one of the greatest Bears defense in the past 20, 30 years? And for it to be a dominant defense, you have to play the entire game. And several times this year, we just disappeared several times. For example, just in this game, we somehow got it back and sent it to overtime. And then you allow Saquon Barkley to just pick up 25 yards in OT. That just cannot happen if you're an elite defense. Also, when you have Odell Beckham completely open in the end zone with at least 5 or 6 yards of pure green around him, that cannot happen. I don't care what they did offensively, but Odell Beckham cannot be wide open in the end zone. Vic Fangio, you need to clean this up, because we are not going to go anywhere in the playoffs if we just have complete halves where we just disappear. This was a game where you come in with your backup QB and your defense is supposed to pick up the slack, and it just did not happen. I wanted this game. We needed to win this game badly. We have 4 remaining games. 3 of them are difficult. We're playing the Packers, the Vikings, the Rams. This is a game that would have helped so much in the standings. A winnable game. It's just did not happen.
I look at it like this. I'll pump the brakes on it a little bit. I'll say it like this: when Trubisky got hurt and Chase Daniel was named the starter, we had 2 road games ahead of us. We had at Detroit and we had at New York. I looked at both of these games with our backup quarterback starting and said those might be 2 losses, and I was perfectly okay with it. With your backup getting 1 out of the 2, in my mind, is best case scenario. That we are still sitting at 8-4. We're still leading the division. All of the NFC North teams lost this week, so we lost no ground with our division lead. We didn't gain ground, but we didn't lose any. Our defense did drop the ball against New York, but I would say this, that I think that we kind of let our guard down against the Giants, thought it was going to be an easy win, and it wasn't. You have to bring your game against the Giants, because as bad of a team as they are, they still have guys like Saquon Barkley, who is an unbelievable talent, and Odell Beckham Jr. These guys can torch any defense in football. And so, as disappointed I was that we lost the game, I looked at it like this. Mitch Trubisky is expected to be back next week. We didn't lose any ground in the division. And, as long as Trubisky is close to 100%, I'm okay with it. We established the ground game a little bit in this game. We did go away from it in the second half and overtime, but I think that I saw good signs. And sure, we lost our 5-game winning streak, but to me, this could be a good thing. Our defense not showing up against the Giants could fire them up and have them going on all cylinders for the Rams. If we lose this game to the Giants but somehow find a way to beat the Rams next week, it's all gravy. I could give a shit about a loss to the Giants if we can get a statement win against the Rams.
Yeah, but to me, that's like going from one of the worst teams in football to the best team in football.
But that's sometimes how football is. Sometimes you sleep on a bad team, and then that wakes you up for the good team. You never know.
I agree, but coming to December, we shouldn't have to like remotivate ourselves and stuff like that. It's December. We just need to start playing winning football, and this is where you begin your playoffs, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get out right now. Like, the Patriots are the masters at this. Who gives a shit what happened in September or October? Somehow, the goddamn mighty Patriots show up red hot in the playoffs, and their December record is ridiculous.
I say that Chase Daniels going 1-1 in 2 games as a starter is best case scenario. If you're a Bear, we're Bears fans, and we've seen plenty of years where the backup quarterback comes in and can't win a goddamn football game.
Very true.
Caleb Haney.
Todd Collins.
Yeah, so many names.
Jason Campbell.
Yeah, so many names of backup quarterbacks that couldn't get it done. So, I'll have a better feel for how we're looking after next week when we play the Rams. Gav.
Kyle Orton, backup quarterback. He never did anything good for you guys.
See, I like Kyle Orton, but those are rare and few in between.
He started for us for a bit. I mean,
he was good. I liked Kyle Orton, but
he was a backup quarterback.
Wasn't what?
No, he started.
When Rex Grossman got hurt, he was the backup to Rex Grossman.
Yeah, but he was a starter in Denver.
Yeah, after Chicago.
Well,
yeah,
he
came
true.
in
1 year starting for us, I believe.
No, he replaced Grossman, who got hurt in preseason.
Well, yeah, that was his rookie year. But later on, 2 years down the road, he was a legitimate starter.
1 year,
I miss Neckbeard.
Trying to get Neckbeard on the podcast. We'll see if that'll happen. Gavin, what did you
call him Neckbeard? That'll be how you lure him over.
And give him some booze.
Gavin, looking at this game, watching the highlights, whatever, what'd you take away from this game?
Yeah, to me, this was a young Chicago team that's got a pretty good lead on a division that at one point was really competitive this season.
Mm-hmm.
Going in to face a team that has been known to be struggling and not and looking ahead to the next week when they have to play what they know is a for sure tough opponent in the Rams, and this is a trap game.
Yeah.
Stoyo mentioned how this isn't something that the Patriots do. The Patriots, they don't have a young head coach in tenure or in age. Their team is well seasoned, and they know how to come in week to week.
And they got Brady at quarterback.
Absolutely. So to me, this was a good Chicago team that came in to play a struggling New York team that had some really talented players, and just didn't seem prepared to face those talented players. So that's what it looks like to me. You still saw some great plays by the defense. You're able to keep Eli to his mediocre quarterbacking ways, but you struggled to stop Saquon Barkley. And that's something that's from the outside that would be the focal point is to stop Saquon Barkley, and the defense is good enough. There's enough talent there that you could keep him from averaging over 5 yards a carry. But I think that just this is some inexperience just from the team as a whole, and something that unfortunately will probably make you better moving forward.
Yeah, I hope you're right. We'll see. Some interesting stats in this game. This game was kind of crazy. Chase Daniel, the Bears' backup quarterback, fumbles the ball 4 times, but loses none of them, recovering 3 of them. I believe it was the first play, or at least the first pass of the game from Chase Daniel was a pick 6 to Giants linebacker Alec Ogletree, who had 2 interceptions in the game. And then we saw...
Could have been a lot more. He threw some bad passes.
Yeah. But he threw some good ones in the clutch as well. That one to Tariq Cohen to get us to force overtime and stuff like that. Also,
Tariq Cohen, what a game for you.
Tariq Cohen is insane. Darren Sproles 2.0.
Yeah.
We saw some craziness. Defensive.
Careful now. That's a little premature.
It is, but we're Chicago fans. We're jumping all over
We're
it.
premature type of
We saw Akeem Hicks, defensive tackle, get a rushing touchdown, which was a shout out to the fridge.
homage.
William Perry. We saw Odell Beckham Jr. throw a touchdown pass, to which I tweeted maybe Odell Beckham should be starting instead of Eli.
Yeah.
And then we saw Tariq Cohen throw a touchdown pass to Anthony Miller as time expired to send the game into overtime. So it was a very fun game to watch. Sucks we couldn't come out on top in the end, but can't win them all. And Trubisky reportedly, quote, really close, end quote, to 100% for Week 14. So really looking forward to the Bears playing the Rams on Sunday Night Football in Week 14. Let's go to the Panthers at the Bucs, where the Bucs find a way to win a home divisional game versus the suddenly reeling Panthers, 24-17 in Raymond James Stadium. Jameis Winston gets the start, goes 20 of 30 for 249 yards, 2 touchdowns, and most importantly, no turnovers. Jameis.
No turnovers?
This is Winston's second straight game with no turnovers.
Wow, maybe he's turning the corner.
Maybe. And Jameis Winston passes Josh Freeman, your boy Gavin, for the most touchdown passes in franchise history at 81. Gavin, the Panthers were sitting at 6-2 just a couple weeks ago, and we blink, and all of a sudden they're 6-6. What's wrong in Carolina?
Riverboat Ron.
Yep.
Making some poor decisions there. He had what I thought was for sure a win there in Detroit a couple weeks back, and then he decided to he wanted to go home a little bit earlier and take the L.
He's like, I'm out of here.
Yeah,
Maybe he wanted to go back on the boat.
It's overrated.
Yeah, and there might be something with Cam Newton's shoulder. It seems to be bothering him. On the final play of this game, Rivera pulls Cam Newton out in favor of backup Taylor Heinicke, backup quarterback. Seems like Cam Newton's arm strength might be a problem. So, what do you think's wrong with the Panthers? 4 straight losses and a ton of talent on that team.
It's hard to say. I think losing Greg Olsen sucks, but
Yep.
I don't know. Like, I don't want to put this on the coach, but I also don't want to put it on the QB. Who else am I going to put it on? Am I going to blame the defense? I have absolutely zero clue. Like, from being 6-2, you're in such a good spot to make the playoffs, and then you just lose for a month straight.
Yeah.
It just can't happen in football. It's just, I don't know. I'm really not sure what to say. Like, I don't think you should fire Ron, but I don't know. At some point, they were in the Super Bowl, 3 years ago?
Yep.
And now they're just being like, trying to get back to it, but it's just, I don't know. You have to win at least one of those games.
And like you said, Greg Olsen done for the season. Huge loss with a foot injury. Panthers running back Christian McCaffrey, a.k.a. Run CMC, combines for 161 yards and a touchdown. The Bucs defense, suddenly after being atrocious all year long, they had just 1 interception through their first 10 games. They now have 6 interceptions in their past 2. Tampa safety Andrew Adams catches 3 interceptions in this game alone, giving him 4 in his 3-year career. And the Panthers will look to end their losing streak in Week 14 at Cleveland. Gavin, Winston, 2 straight weeks of no turnovers and 2 straight wins. Any chance Jameis is going to win the starting spot back in Tampa and get a contract?
I mean, I think if he keeps it up, they're going to end up re-signing him.
Wow.
I think that, at the beginning of the season, we wouldn't have dreamed this would happen, but, maybe this was the motivation that he needed. He's still relatively young.
Yep.
And maybe he needed to deal with some adversity. Losing the starting job, being benched for Fitzpatrick, not just
twice too.
Yeah, not just watching Fitzpatrick play when he's suspended, but actually being benched in favor of someone that the team knows is not the future of the franchise. Maybe that was a wake-up call that Winston needed. I don't think anyone has argued that there's talent there, and he was the first overall pick. A few years back, despite some of the controversy surrounding him. So maybe he just needed a little wake-up call, and this season has been it for him. They also have a bit more talent on the receiving side. Humphreys and Goodwin have been really good receivers for the Buccaneers. Pairing them with Mike Evans, giving him more than just one really talented guy to throw to. I think I'm sure that's had some benefits, but we saw that same thing with Fitzpatrick too. So,
Deshaun Jackson's gonna call you out.
yeah. When you're built on speed and only speed and throwing the ball down before you cross the goal line, and you're 34 or however old that dude is, I'm not gonna call you good.
Fair enough. So we'll see if a Bucs quarterback will get a second contract.
I think he should get a fresh start somewhere out of Florida.
Yeah.
I think that'd be the best for him, a change of scenery.
What do you think about a fresh start in Jacksonville?
I think the fresh start is going to come from Oakland.
Oh.
Gruden's
guy.
Gruden and Jameis are going to ride in the sunset.
I think Tampa would be down for a straight-up trade. Winston for Derek Carr.
That would be fun.
Yeah. Let's go to the Colts at the Jags, where the Jags defense shuts out the Colts 6-0 in TIAA Bank Stadium, ending the Jags 7-game losing streak. Indy loses in an unexpected way in a road division battle, ending their 5-game winning streak, and ending Andrew Luck's streak of games. What was it? 8 games. Ending Luck's streak of 8 straight games with 3+ touchdowns in the shutout. Gavin, you had to be shocked by the Jags shutting out Andrew Luck and the Colts here.
Yeah, I am. They've been playing so poorly over the last few weeks, and the Colts have been playing really well. I think it's kind of polar opposites for the two different teams. We expected Colts to be okay but not great, and we expected at least I expected the Jaguars to be pretty good but not as good as they were this last year. And through the first 12 weeks they kind of flipped the scripts on us. The Colts have played very well. The defense has been really good. You've got at least one takeaway in each game so far, I believe, which is not what the Colts franchise has been built on. And then you add Andrew Luck, who has been playing really well. And then the Jaguars, well, they got Blake Bortles at quarterback. That about sums it all up. But now to see the Jaguars beat the team that had been trending in the right direction is a little bit surprising. But again, Blake Bortles didn't start for them, so maybe it shouldn't be all that surprising.
Yeah, the old Cody Kessler gets a first win in 9 career starts for Cody Kessler.
His first 8 were with the Browns, though, so before anyone is awful, just remember he was playing for the Browns.
So. Yep.
Still to an NFL team, but yeah, that was a gross game. Like a genius, I bet on the Colts, because that was my lock of the day. It made sense on paper, and I did not think that Andrew Luck was going to score 0. Just did not see that one coming.
Well, as much as I want to root for Frank Reich as a head coach, and I want to, he seems like a good guy. I want to root for the guy, and he seems in a good spot. He just keeps making decision after decision that I cannot support. First of all, it was a loss is better than a tie move against the Texans back in Week 4. Now, they lose a 6-0 game when the Colts go 0 for 3 on 4th downs, all of them being in field goal range. Don't forget the Colts have a kicker named Adam Vinatieri, who's made a couple field goals. He's
not bad.
He's not bad. Head coach Frank Reich on going for it on fourth down. Quote, all the numbers say strong go there, and we like the play we called, end quote. I mean,
I disagree.
over 3, that could be 3 field goals. That could be 9-6 and a Colts win right there. What do you say? What do you think, Stoyo? Bad decisions?
I think there's a time and a place to go for it on fourth down and not feel like the trend in the league is like, oh, it's fourth down, we're going for it. No. You need to make sure this is the right scenario to go for it. As you mentioned previously, I don't know which week it was, he just gave the game away to the Texans, and that is a rookie mistake, I would say. But if he keeps making the mistake, that he's just not learning from it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
Everyone wants to be Doug Peterson.
Exactly, but when Doug Peterson went for it, it kind of made sense.
Yes.
Some of these fourth down did not at all.
Yeah. You agree with that, Gavin?
I mean, a loss is better than a tie, and 2 out of 3 field goals is a good expectation, I think. So, they would have tied then. So you want to go for the loss. You don't want to go for the tie.
Yeah.
We win here or we lose. No ties.
As we all know, a loss looks better in your column at the end of the year than a tie. So,
Yeah, the first time they went for it, in the first quarter.
Yeah.
They were at the 1, so that makes it a little bit more understandable because it's early on. You're not. You're able to hold them. Cody Kessler's starting. It's kind of going as you expect. They're not able to score. So you can take a risk, if you get a touchdown in this game, you win. And it's one of those things where if they'd scored, it would have been a smart move. But because they didn't score, it's the worst move you could possibly make. I don't mind the first one so much, but I also think it was pretty stupid. It's.
But don't you think that you can beat Cody Kessler with like 4 field goals?
Yeah. I mean, what are you expecting out of the Jags offense? It's not going to be a shootout. I would think that Frank Reich going into this game should kind of expect that it's going to be every point matters. That's been my kind of personality, is every point matters. So if you're in position to get points, it really sucks to. I'm more of a fan of going for it on 4th and inches on like your 50 than I am going for it on 4th and inches when you're already in field goal range. But
yeah, but their last game, they won by a field goal.
Yeah.
It was a higher scoring game, but if you look at, if they're the latest Colts games, there are a lot of them that were really close. But they had been able to put away bad teams and win by double digits, so maybe that's what they were expecting. But the Jags defense stepped up at home.
Yeah, good performance by the Jags defense. Good shutout. But their season's been over, so.
Yeah, I think I projected 9 wins, and I should have bet the under on that, which I already thought I was going kind of low. But
Stoyo called the Jags. What do you have them going?
I don't know. I would like to say 6-10.
Yeah. So that was a great call.
5-11 or something.
Great call by you, Stoyo, on the Jags. Great preseason call that none of us really saw coming except for you. Another one, Gavin, great call on the Houston Texans. I was buying the Texans, but in preseason, I think you had them going 12-4, maybe 13-3.
I do not remember. That wasn't one of my hot takes, I thought.
Well, they've got 9 straight, and chances are they could go at least 12-4, if not 13-3. Imagine if the Texans start 0-3 and then win 13 straight. They blow out the Browns 29-13 at home, and they're just cruising. Gavin, how are you feeling about this Texans team? You think this is a team that can go into the AFC playoffs and make some noise and challenge the Patriots or the Chiefs or someone like that?
I think they can challenge. I don't know if they're going to be able to beat either of those two teams, but I think they can put up a really, really good fight against both of them. And I think, looking at the other division leader right now, I think they could beat the Steelers. I think they could beat the Ravens or the who's the other team in right now? The Chargers. Yeah, anyone can beat the Chargers. It's the Chargers. They find ways to lose games they shouldn't. But the offense on Houston has become a little bit more balanced than I think we saw last year. Lamar Miller's been running really well this year, and the addition of Demaryius Thomas has been great, especially with Fuller and Kiki Kuti. Fuller being out and Kiki Kuti, being out just I think shorter term. So I think that was a great trade by them. Awful trade for Broncos, as we already covered. But a more balanced offense, a healthy defense. This team definitely has the talent to make a playoff run. I don't see them making it to the championship game unless they can somehow get home field advantage through that. But this, I think, is a team that we can look forward to being competitive for probably the next 2-3 years after this.
Yeah, absolutely. And Watson is looking great, bouncing back nicely after that ACL injury. I'm going to do a little hot take here, and you guys might not agree with me, but I'm going to say it anyways. I'd say if the Texans get into the playoffs right now, they would win in Arrowhead. They would beat the Chiefs. That's my bold prediction.
Well, it depends. It depends if Deshaun Watson woke up dangerous that day or not.
Speaking of waking up dangerous, Baker Mayfield throws 3 interceptions in this game against the Texans, the most picks he's thrown in a game since his freshman year at Texas Tech. Baker said after the game, quote, "If I would have taken care of the ball, this game would have been very close," end quote. I feel like Rex Grossman said that a couple times. Texans linebacker Zach Cunningham catches his first career interception and returns it 38 yards for a touchdown. The Browns fall to 9-39 in December and January since 2008. And Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson has another turnover-free game as the Texans keep adding to their win streak. Houston will look to extend their streak in Week 14 against the Colts. Let's go to...
Just want to point out the 3 picks by Mayfield obviously doesn't look good, but not all of the turnovers and the point differential I think was his fault. There was a pretty key fumble by Antonio Callaway on a 71-yard catch that Mayfield had gotten to him, but then after it's fumbled, it's recovered inside of the end zone by Houston. So it's that could have been a really big swing. That's potentially a 14-point swing right there, which puts it at 20-22. So the Browns, despite the poor performance by Baker Mayfield in the second quarter, relatively well against a team that's been trending. They've got 9 wins in a row now.
Yeah, and to your point, he did throw for 397 yards, almost 400 yards. So impressive performance.
I think Jarvis Landry got over 100 yards. So
nice.
That was a cool, rare feat.
You got to give the guy a quarterback, you know what I'm saying?
This might be the best quarterback he's ever had. So.
That's true. All right, let's go to the Jets at the Titans, where the Titans escape with a much-needed win after struggling early. They win 26-22 in Nissan Stadium and the 2-game losing streak. Clutch Marcus Mariota delivers his 12th career game-winning drive, throwing a game-winning touchdown pass with 36 seconds left in the game to Corey Davis. And the Jets lose their 6th straight. Jets head coach Todd Bowles after the game, quote, "Dumb mistakes at dumb times cost us ball games, and that's why we're in the position we're in." Gavin, a big win, a good win for the Titans. How are you feeling about Tennessee as we go into the stretch run here late in the year?
I think that they're not making the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're going to be up there with a lot of AFC teams that have the talent to be in the playoffs, but just haven't been able to produce and get the W's this season. The Broncos, Colts are all in that that kind of that same little pod. I think all those teams have the talent to be wild card teams, but just there's only so many spots. So I see them being at home for the entirety of January of 2019.
Yeah, and I know he just had a game-winning touchdown drive here, but how are you feeling about Marcus Mariota as a franchise quarterback? I know he's been a little bit banged up this year, but do you put some of their struggles on him?
Yeah, I think there's been some inconsistencies on his part that you can look to for being some of the reasons why the Titans have struggled like they have. They haven't been able to really establish the running game. They've got Derrick Henry and Deion Lewis there, but neither one of them has been able to really, be a true, number one running back. And even as complements of each other, they haven't been able to find the right system or something. Both those guys, one will be there'll be a great game for one, but the other will struggle, and vice versa. The next week, and then the next this week, neither of them were really fantastic.
Yeah.
So I think that they're it might be a new season, new offensive coordinator. Deion Lewis is new to this team, so you might attribute some of it to that. But there's been some inconsistencies on Mariota's part that. If he can nail that down, I don't see him being a game-winning quarterback. I see him being like a high-end game manager quarterback, relying on a solid run game and a decent defense. And he hasn't really had either of those over the course of this year.
Yeah, I agree. And keeping him healthy has to be a big priority for the Titans. And maybe this just is what Mariota is, a close to 500 quarterback that's a little inconsistent at times, but still has the franchise quarterback, what do you call it? Still gets the franchise quarterback money. So we'll see what goes on. The Titans play this Thursday night against